The tall spires of Montreal's churches now coming in sight. This old English barnacle bark will soon lie at anchor a few days. My poor passengers. Figured they best get out of Ireland while they still had the strength. Limey landlords paid their passage, made sure they was off their own lands for good, even offered them money when they got here. April 15, 1847, the day we set sail from Cork. Anywhere from 40 days to 3 months, I said. They told each other, we're the lucky ones, headed for a better life. Well, we'll never be hungry. Meat and potatoes will fill our pores. A quarter dead by the time we was a fortnight out. Buried at sea. More tossed overboard like bait. I kept them below if they was burning up or puking. The stench would kill you if nothing else. A month later in steerage, scanty water supply, barely a crumb left to eat, vomit and shite everywhere, rats gnawing on corpses. Even I called it coffin ship. I tried to maintain discipline, like in the days I kept in my own brig. Fast sailing first class, the Erin Providence 'twas. She was a beaut. Pity, I had to sell her to pay me debts. I ordered a cleanup of this floating rat trap each morning, but what could I do when some of me crew was too weak to lift a scrubbing brush, let alone carry out a corpse? Still, it weren't seasickness that killed them. Paupers, all skin and bones from the blight. Putrid Protests, nothing but nettles and grass to eat. They caught the typhus real easy back home, while those British pigs feasted on our crops and mutton. That chance me poor country folk have of finding their dream when we reach Montreal. Those that got sick since we left Grosse Ile will be carried off to the fever sheds. Others will die on the dock like fish drowned in air. Well, some of those still standing carry the plague in their pockets. Lucky I ain't a ghost captain now. Spite keeps me alive. And the need to buy a tombstone for me poor wife and 2 bairns. I hate those Sassenach bastards! But as long as I believe even a few of me kinsfolk finds what they're seeking here, I'll keep sailing back to Ireland to pick up another boatload and keep their dream afloat.
Regarde, ces pauvres malades.
Look at those poor souls. They're almost dead anyway.
C'est dégoûtant.
Covered in cankers they are. Ship them all back to Ireland.
Prenez garde.
Keep away from them ethers. There, John Easton Mills, send them back.
N'approchez pas.
No mercy for us if we gets it. Good deeds will land us all in the grave.
Calm yourselves. Calm yourselves, everyone. I realize you're all frightened. Who wouldn't be? We want to protect ourselves and our families, of course. That's only natural. But many of these folks are kin. And even if we're not related, they're still our brothers and our sisters, and we must take care of them. You know we all planned for their coming. You fine folks helped turn the old shelters into fever sheds. We mended roofs, built partitions and rows of beds together. The good nuns and priests will nurse the sick. Some will recover. Look at these poor little children. What if they were your own? My friends, there's no time to waste. We must carry the sick to the sheds. Here, I'll go first. Who's willing to help me?
You might as well lend the Grim Reaper a hand. You mind, Mayor John Easton Mills, that your good deeds are going to land us all in the grave.
Dear Lord, today we visited the fever sheds from which great wails arose. My poor migrant country folk, bodies eaten away by famine, dreams of a better life devoured by this pestilence. They suffer fever, delirium, unbearable pain. Those still breathing shared soiled beds with the dead in a stench so foul, I rushed outside to vomit. My Lord, I have tried to be a good shepherdess, but now it is my grievous duty to decide which of my beloved flock I must send to this slaughter. In the courtyard, I saw an old woman drawing water from the river and adding it to a cauldron boiling over the fire. Dear Sister Blondin could help her make a rich broth, and Sister Perrin, who prepares salves from our herbal garden, could anoint the sores of the sick. Oh, we three entered the novitiate together in our wide-eyed adolescence. I shudder to even imagine what we'd enter here. And what of these postulants I called my spring lambs? In May, 5 girls knocked at our door. 3 have barely begun to bud. Full-figured Madeleine Duren, ushered in by her father, scowled at me. Does this one even have a vocation? Is she here willingly? I need time to coax her story. And what of Solange Lalonde? Oh, that child has the grace of a saint, though she is stricken by the seizing sickness. Well, she seems overjoyed to be here. But is she strong enough for the rigors of our daily life? And would it be wrong of me to accept her because her parents offered a rich dowry and we need that money to feed and clothe the pestilent? Flies, vermin, cadavers, black as pitch or yellow as putrid egg yolk, lie naked on planks in the courtyard, just waiting for the cart. I believe my sisters would go willingly, thanking you, Lord, for the chance for a martyr's crown. But I cannot bear to order anyone to the fever sheds. I must give each nun the choice. But what if the postulants have such generous hearts, and the battle against death, far from frightening them, so ignites their courage, they insist on joining the fight? I am loath to hasten these innocents to their next lives in heaven as the pestilence runs its course. My Lord, you loved children, and you taught us never to harm a hair on their heads. My postulants call me mother, and I love them like daughters. Should I forbid them to go, or allow them to choose, trusting you to protect them?
Mother Fitzpatrick, I made this cake myself. I hulled the berries and creamed the butter and mixed the batter.
Was it your mother's idea?
No, I really want to live here and become a postulant. I know nuns fast a lot and try to eat like poor people do, but I hope you enjoy my treat.
Your age, Solange?
Almost 14, but I feel much older.
About your seizing sickness, once
or twice a week, the fits don't bother me that much. I feel hazy for a bit, and then I get up and start doing things like any other strong girl.
Do you ever have visions?
No. But sometimes I see halos like those circling a candle or the heads of saints. Some people think I'm holy. Others call me la folle cuckoo, but I try my best to forgive them.
Have you heard the story where Jesus cast out the devil from an afflicted man?
I don't have a demon in me.
So, no demon then? Well, I presume you don't know that your parents gave us a rather large dowry.
I know. My parents gave a big dowry for you to take me in. Oh, please pardon my rudeness, Mother. It's not that they don't love me. It's just that, you see, some of our neighbors, they won't help us raise our new barn, or or invite Mama to the quilting bees, or share their bûche de Noël. My parents sit in the last pew in church all because of me. If you could accept me, Mother, they might feel proud. But even if they don't, the convent's the place for me. I want to help sick people like you, Sisters of Charity.
Well, come along then and bring the cake.
Dear little sister Solange, since you have promised to keep it secret, I will share my story. A month ago, I entered the novitiate. Entered. My father gripped my arm and pulled me down the path towards the gray stone walls of this mother house prison. I was obliged to exchange my comfortable clothes for this headdress and scratchy purple sackcloth they call a habit.
So it was your father's idea.
Yes, but I can't blame him. I am the youngest child. He divided his farm into 6 ribbon strips for my married brothers, and then spent all of his savings for my 2 sisters' dowries. The church will look after you. At least you won't be yoked to a plow.
I came because I love Christ and long to be his bride.
I burn to marry my good-hearted voyageur with glossy hair thick as a pelt, a bear's strength, and lips sweet as wild berries.
Where did you meet him?
In the forest, when I was gathering kindling. He was home for a while after wintering with the natives.
Why can't you marry him?
Luke is a Protestant. My father would kill him if he ever dare ask for my hand.
Did he find out?
No, he didn't get wind of our plan to run away and live in the wilderness. And I am silent as stone around Mother Fitzpatrick. I wouldn't have told you either if we weren't being called to the fever sheds.
Yes, the whole convent volunteered, as if with one heart and soul. Even the postulants.
Everyone except for me, that is. It's not that I don't pity the sick or don't want to help. I'm not like some city folk who would shove those lying on the docks into the St. Lawrence. No, it's because, do you understand what you've promised, Solange? Imagine the filth and the stench. Rats feasting on corpses. Your postulant's dress you proudly wear could be your shroud.
I'm not afraid, Madeline.
You are not yet bound by vows. I beg you to think again.
Why won't you just join me?
Solange, you are so young. What do you know of men and women together? Lying in the forest with Mon Amour? Now there is new life within me. Whatever happens, I must protect it, or God will never forgive me.
I will not change my mind, dear mother.
Oh, what's this about?
You must let me go to the fever sheds. I begged my parents to bring me here. I know I belong to Christ ever since Father's farmhands started to taunt me. Oh, don't go near the cows or they'll stop producing milk, and stay away from the hens if you want to have eggs.
Oh, child.
Oh, but then there was a time that a ring of boys, they closed around me and they started taunting. Little Miss Spittle sings like a kettle. Little Miss Fool drowns in her drool. Oh, I've known I belong to Christ and that he chose me and sent me this cross so that I could grow stronger and help those afflicted like me.
But you're seizing sickness.
Please, please let me go to the fever sheds and help nurse them back to wellness. Or, if it be God's will, our souls will rise together like an aviary to heaven, where my bridegroom opens his arms like wings.
Dear Lord, the sky has been weeping for weeks. There's mud up to our knees. We rid ourselves of our vermin-infested habits and sprinkle vinegar, but the stinking contagion creeps through our defences. The nuns, returning home from the fever sheds, too exhausted to sing the offices, one by one take to their beds, never to rise again. On July 14th, I took my first sips from grief's bitter chalice, when dear Sister Chevrefis found her shelf in the mortuary, 2 days after taking her vows. On July 16th, Novice Jeanette Collins, so tender-hearted with the children, also found her place in heaven. This morning, I drank as if poisoned, when sweet little Sister Solange, for whom I bear the black burden, choked to death on her own vomit. As we washed her, and placed her rosary in her cooling hands, I thought her friend Madeleine Duren would offer to help, but she just wept in a corner with a handkerchief over her nose. Later, I followed her to the garden. Those locks escaping your headdress, Madeleine, how glossy they are. Your skin, plush as a peach. And that swollen belly your habit no longer hides. Now I understand.
Understand?
Why you shun the sick and linger whenever that Protestant voyageur brings meat for our pestilent.
Mother, please.
Oh, kneel down this minute and recite the act of contrition. I order you to kneel down and beg God's forgiveness.
Mother, I can't say those words. I love Luke and the baby.
I warn you, Madeleine. God will punish you for adding another child to those already orphaned by typhus.
Mother, have mercy.
Why should you be allowed to flourish when your angelic sisters are dying?
Mother, I grieve them too.
I must attend to dear postulant Alody Briere, who hastens towards the next world. But I will deal with you later, Madeleine. My lord, when will this chalice be empty and this hell ever end? The clods of earth raining down upon the coffins threaten to crush my faith. I tell myself, my loved ones now dwell in heaven with you. But each time I hear the woodcutter sawing more boards, or the thuds of a hammer driving in coffin nails, my heart is pierced anew.
Good afternoon, Mother Fitzpatrick.
Good afternoon, Mayor Mills. Please, come in.
Thank you. Good to get out of the rain.
What brings you here in this deluge?
The fever sheds, Mother. They're packed, overflowing, sometimes 3 to a bed. We desperately need to build more. The coffin ships keep coming. And now the infirm outnumber the vigorous in our city.
My sisters are not inclined to complain, but they, more than anyone, bear the burden and will welcome your proposal.
City Council and the Board of Health demand that we build them on distant Boucherville Island, and the public support them. Angry crowds are gathering at the Champ de Mars playground.
Why are more sick immigrants allowed to land here?
They're turning Montreal into another gross eel. An island in the middle of the Atlantic would be too close.
Their fears are justified. Whole families obliterated. Hundreds of orphans. Everyone's afraid.
Yes. My wife Hannah and I have 8 children. Our family is filled with foreboding.
More's the pity. I will say a novena for them.
Thank you.
Years ago, I lost my twin brothers to the cholera.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Time has a way of healing. Oh, and Mayor Mills, it certainly doesn't help that editorials like this one in The Witness stoke the fires of hysteria. The immigrants were plague-stricken because they are Catholic. The Irish abuse public charity. The so-called victims in the sheds sell their allowance of oatmeal and bread to the petty stores of Griffintown for a few coppers to purchase liquor. As we all know, that's a hideous lie.
Indeed it is. The bedridden aren't about to engage in commerce, are they? Now, as for building the sheds on Boucherville.
That's 12 miles downstream. Might as well be Van Diemen's land. We'd spent half our lives getting there and back.
Besides, there's no way the steamships from Grosse Ile can dock there. The sheds must be built near the convent.
So close, with all the contagion born on every breeze.
I'm proposing Windmill Point on the riverbank, about half a mile from here in the existing sheds. The buildings will be spacious and well ventilated with plenty of windows. Catholics and Protestants will be housed separately, as will men and women, of course.
And of course, there will be a chapel.
A chapel?
Something rude and basic will suffice for the priest to say Mass and to comfort those poor souls.
But you realize a chapel will be pressed into service as a dormitory once the numbers grow.
By the way, I've never seen you at Mass. Might you perchance be a Protestant?
Some reformers assume I am, but I pay no heed to their presumptions.
So, what church do you belong to then?
Mother Fitzpatrick, for reasons I'm sure you'll understand, I seldom attend. But that's no reflection upon my...
Oh, have you not fallen away from the faith?
I was a fur trader, then a banker. Enterprises wherein displays of piety are quite rare.
It's well known that you financed the building of our St. Patrick's Cathedral.
That was a vital investment. As mayor, my concern has to be for all Montrealers, regardless of creed. As emigrant commissioners, it is my duty to persuade City Council to locate the sheds closest to your provisions of care.
I will pray for you.
Thank you.
Chère Fleur, you are beautiful. You have your father's eyes and dark hair like mine. You are all that is the best of us two. But your skin is blue. Oh, baby Lucille, I did my best to protect you. I stayed away from the pestilent. I nourished us both on fast days on vegetables stolen from the garden and fresh fruit, milk from the cow. Patient like she was while calving, I hid in the barn, crouched on all fours, then lay in the straw, bellowing when you broke me open. Oh, ma petite, I cannot warm you. You wear a coat of wax snowflakes, your body cold as the grave that will now be your crib. Mother Fitzpatrick was right. My punishment, the cord coiled around your neck, is the serpentine form of the devil. Oh, ma belle, blue is my heart. No Catholic cemetery will accept you. I will bury you in the field where the wild roses grow. Then I will do penance in the fever sheds so that I can be with you.
Dear Mother Fitzpatrick, today I killed a deer for you to feed the pestilent. Only one shot before I heard the crash. A doe, dappled and golden, her snow-white belly swollen. Tiny hooves drummed her skin as she struggled for breath. I saw Madeleine's face as the doe died. When the fawn stopped moving inside her, I cried for our stillborn child. Mother, please help me. I will do anything you wish if you let me marry Madeleine. Sincerely, Luke Forrest. Madeleine, don't weep. Look, I have brought you a baby found in the fever sheds, still suckling at the breast of his mother, whom death has turned to ice. I'm sorry, Madeleine. Our Saviour warned against casting stones. I have no right to judge you. Pray, forgive me.
Petite baby.
Madeleine, you have milk more precious than an elixir. Our orphanage is overflowing and some children will die. We do not know whether this poor waif's parents were Catholic or Protestant, but I say to myself, what does it matter to him as long as he can drink?
I suppose a wet nurse is needed.
Even more than milk, it's a mother he needs. Oh, Madeleine, I know this child can never replace your one our Lord called home, but you will grow to love him as if he were your own. And I know a way you can adopt him.
Adopt him when I'm not even married.
Your kindly voyageur, who shares your loss, has agreed to be instructed in the Catholic faith so that he may wed you. If you can find it in your heart to mother this child, I will persuade your father. If he wishes to secure a fine place in heaven, he will accept my word. Your vocation is motherhood, and he must let you marry.
I can marry Luke. Oh, mon petit cœur.
But remember, Madeleine, you must remind Luke, his Protestant immersion isn't acceptable. That dunking he got from his gitchy Manitou when his canoe capsized doesn't count. To fulfill his side of the bargain, he must be baptized by a trickle of blessed holy water from the hands of a Catholic priest.
That sounds like a good bargain. You'll gain a willing convert in exchange for allowing Luke and I to marry and raise baby Jean-Pierre as our son.
Washed clean and launched by your third baptism, you will go to Mass and receive the sacraments.
Yes, Mother. But though Luke's skin is freshly rinsed, no one can launder his soul. He will allow Jean-Pierre to play with Protestant children and learn the tales of Manitou, whose laughter rings in the sugar bush and whose face we glimpse in the lakes.
Greetings, Captain. You look familiar. Have we met before?
Captain Dermot Connor, your worship. We met in June on the docks after me ship arrived. You helped me and me crew carry some of the sick to the sheds.
Ah, yes. Yes, that ragged old man and his wife. Pity. He died before we could get him there. Still, his wife's doing better now.
Indeed. She's one of the lucky ones. I'm doing a bit of fishing. Oh, we still got the light.
I'd give my eye teeth to join you, but Father Flanagan and Tim McCaffrey are ailing, and I've offered to relieve them.
In the fever sheds. You volunteered.
I'm busy during the day with City Council, but I'm free to work in the evenings.
Your courage and compassion are an example to us all.
Many others have helped. Why shouldn't I?
I'd offer too, but I set sail tomorrow.
Well, I commend you, but I have a favor to ask. Should your efforts on the river be sufficiently rewarded, will you reserve a share of the catch for the sheds?
I'll deliver whatever I can spare to your doorstep, on the condition you keep some for yourself.
Agreed. And let us also agree to go fishing together once you return to port.
My dear little Solange, after we buried you, I went to confession to disclose my secret sin to the priest. I confessed I would have refused you on account of your seizing sickness, had you not been a rich girl whose dowry could be spent to ease the pestilent. Oh, the priest assured me my motives for your acceptance were sterling, since you possessed a vocation that gleamed like a jewel in Christ's crown. And, as your name suggests, you have become an angel who now dwells in paradise. But kneeling by your grave, Solange, remembering the girl you once were, who sang and darted about like a sunlit sparrow, I hear a cock crow in the distance. And remembering the price you paid for the money I took, I cannot forgive myself. Dear Lord, the pestilence spreads like wildfire. Jesus, Mary, have mercy. Blisters bloom on my skin. My bowels burn like lava. Even my sweat is boiling.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I hear my hot-headed sisters warring with Protestant doctors who demand our chapel be converted to a new fever shed.
You Catholics are spies. Well, you Protestants would deny our sick a sanctuary to pour out their pain.
The Lord is my shepherd. Oh, where is he now? So many lambs have been slaughtered. The men are digging mass graves.
We need our chapel at the expense of the sick.
Voices hammer my head. All my tears have dried up, and my throat's a parched riverbed. Sweet Jesus, bring me water. Bathe me in Laurentian lakes where I swam as a child. Have mercy, Lord. Send me snow and ice. Free me from this hellfire. And if there is a heaven, let it be with my sisters who first made the sacrifice.
Dear, dear Mother Fitzpatrick, I am no figment of your fever. I can see from my perch here in paradise that you have caught the contagion, and I know my death weighs on you like a tombstone. You gave your very own food to the sick in the fever sheds and grew thin as the paper saints that mark my hymn book. No wonder the pestilence preyed on you. Let me lighten your burden. Had you forbidden me from going to the fever sheds with my sisters, I'd have felt like a caged sparrow, barred from her flock. And I might have succumbed anyway just by breathing the broom in our homes. So if you love me, dear Mother, remember the lives we saved. Quench the fire that burns within you by drinking life's holy waters. Think of the cake I once made, how you reached for a sweet second piece. Eat, Mother. Until you are well enough to continue our earthly work.
Dear Mother Fitzpatrick, it grieves me to learn you are ill. I wish I could tend to you myself, but I know you'd forbid me to come because of baby Jean-Pierre. Thanks to your intercession, Luke and I now live on my father's farm, where he sometimes points at a cushiony cloud as if at his spot in heaven. To speed your recovery, I go to daily Mass, and my fingers keep my rosary warm. I am sending you the miraculous broth I learned to make from Sister Blondin when I was a postulant, which reminds me now that dear Sister Solange is no longer with us. Some people call her a saint. Her parents sit in the first pew at church. And I just read in the paper that our beloved mayor, John Easton Mills, has died. It said he heroically performed his duties until the end, and with the greatest patience bore the most intense suffering. Without an irritable word, he leaves behind a large family overwhelmed with grief. His poor wife and children. Dear Mother, I feel so blessed. Please think of me as a daughter who loves you dearly. Yours gratefully, Madeleine Duran Forrest.
My Lord, the scourge is losing its strength thanks to the advent of winter. Many, like myself, are recovering. Still, some convalescents, now shivering threadbare in the fever sheds, subsist only on a chunk of bread and one measly potato, doled out daily by Protestant caretakers. Were it not for the alms we collect and Bishop Bourget's donations, those poor souls would surely starve to death. Despite this dire situation, our chapel is now entrenched. Many Protestants, moved by our deeds, begged to be baptized, and new postulants filled the spaces in our battle-thinned ranks. Still, the rows upon rows of crosses, graves barely stitched shut by grass blades now laced with snow, and the pits where the bones of thousands from both faiths lie jumbled together convince me, when it comes to death, you do not take sides, Lord. Besides the 13 sisters we lost, there are good people gone from all creeds. I include in my prayers John Easton Mills, our free-thinking mayor who succeeded in getting new fever sheds built on the Point St. Charles waterfront. Sadly, he perished last week after ministering to the sick. We honored him with the longest funeral procession the city has ever seen. Council members are still wearing their mourning bands and calling him our martyr mayor. I also include in my prayers the Mohawks of the Kanawake, who risked their lives to bring meat and fish to the starving, and many Protestant clergy and lay people who stood with us shoulder to shoulder and made the supreme sacrifice. I am happy to say many good families are now adopting our orphans. My daughter Madeleine and her husband have welcomed a second child, even as she carries her own. It was the summer of saints, both living and dead, who have led me back to you, my Lord, when I feared I had lost you.